Hi, good day to everyone. My name is Ariel Herrera and welcome to my FMA2 Part 3 video presentation. This video presentation will evaluate the Bakuna Eskwela Campaign reported by Ms. Cherry Ann using the adapter framework. The video will highlight the strengths and gaps of the campaign with a corresponding scorecard for measurement purposes. Let us begin. So let us now check on the campaign using the Analyze lens from the adapter framework. For the strengths, the campaign identified the social concern of low vaccination coverage and the resurgence of vaccine-preventable diseases like measles and rubella following the pandemic, and also the critical need to reach zero-dose children in geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. The campaign also allowed targeted messaging and was able to distinguish between the primary audience and secondary audience, primary being the students and secondary being the parents, the guardians, and the teachers. Also, the campaign understood the need to catch up on missed doses due to school closures. When it comes to gaps, the campaign has room for growth on analyzing for hyper-local cultural barriers, example, specific religious or indigenous concerns in certain regions before the rollout begins, and also on analyzing if there were any emotional drivers to vaccine hesitancy, such as the lingering Dengvaksha shadow. For this, the campaign receives a score of 4.6. Let us now go to letter D, or define objectives. For the strengths, the Department of Health specified the success margin, which was reaching 95% coverage for measles, rubella, and tetanus diphtheria, and 90% for HPV among grade 4 female students. The campaign was also time-bound in nature, and the objectives were strictly aligned with the school's calendar, typically October to November, and highlighted on urgency. For the gaps, there were less defined behavioral objectives, such as changing the mindset of hesitant parents, and there were also less objectives defined on student experience, specifically on minimizing school-based needle anxiety, which could have improved long-term vaccine confidence. Still, for this, the campaign receives a score of 4.5. Let us now go into the assessing the materials or pretest. For the campaign's strengths, there is a meticulous or rigorous vetting on materials used for medical accuracy and branding done by the DOH and the Department of Education. So this ensured a high level of technical reliability across posters and informed consent forms. The campaign was school-based and the materials were pre-integrated into official school channels. So for pre-testing, feedback from school health personnel acted as the first line of defense in communication. And also, pre-testing ensured that different formats, example, mixture of digital assets, brochures, and lecture guides, delivered a consistent message regardless of the medium. For the gaps, there was a limited language of the heart. So the poster that works in Manila may not address the nuances or concerns or fears in regional provinces. And also the informed consent form was seen as heavy or legalistic and failed to address the emotional concern of a parent, which was, will my child be safe? Still for this, the campaign receives a score of 4.0. Okay, let's now see the Bakuna Eskwela campaign using the plan, lens, or strategize. For the strengths, the primary strategic strength of the campaign is a partnership between the Department of Health and the Department of Education. So by utilizing the schools as the primary vaccination hubs, the plan bypasses the last mile barrier of getting parents to visit health centers, effectively bringing the service to the target population's daily environment. Also, the plan strategically uses school health, nutrition personnel, and teachers as credible messengers, recognizing that parents are more likely to trust school authorities with whom they have a pre-existing relationship. With regards to the gaps, there is a gap in resource allocation strategy for hard to reach or geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas, or GIDA, referring to schools in remote areas. And also, the plan often lacks a proactive strategy for viral misinformation. Instead of being reactive to social media rumors, the campaign could well use having a pre-planned, aggressive counter-narrative strategy built into the initial rollout. For this case, the campaign gets a score of 4.3. Let us now go to the next lens of the adaptive framework, which is the transact or implement. Now, despite the social and behavioral challenges like vaccine hesitancy, recent studies show that a high level of implementation was due to the effective coordination between the health workers and the school administrators. Also, the implementation is highly successful due to the usage of the schools as vaccination venues. For the gaps, the hard-to-reach areas still faced gaps in cold chain consistency and medical personnel availability, leading to uneven implementation speeds. And also, there were bottlenecks with consent forms. This was due to the dependence on physical signed consent forms. Now, this is referring to students who either forgot their forms or had hesitant parents, and hence they were excluded from the transaction on the day of the event. For this, the transact or implement score for this campaign is 4.2. Let us now look at the campaign using the evaluate lens. For the campaign's strength, the Department of Health had an excellent national tracking system to keep track of how many children were actually vaccinated. Also, the campaign used AEFI monitoring, or the adverse effects following immunization, which was used in evaluating the safety in real time. This helped reassure parents that the vaccines were safe, and that was crucial also for the campaign's reputation. The Department of Health and DepEd also met to reevaluate their partnership. This helped identify which schools were efficient and which ones struggled with the flow of students. For the gaps, there was a lack of human data on why some students missed their shots or why parents said no. And also for the remote areas, it was harder for scorecards to reach the head office. This caused some delay in reacting quickly to a struggling area during the actual campaign. The score provided for this campaign is 3.9. Lastly, let's see the campaign using the reiterate lens. For the campaign's strength, the 2024 campaign itself was a massive act of reiteration after it was on hiatus for 4 years due to COVID-19. The Department of Health and DepEd successfully rebooted the school-based model and recognized that community-based vaccination during the pandemic was less effective for reaching students. Learning loss is a major concern post-pandemic, and hence the campaign successfully branded vaccination as a way to stay in school and prevent absenteeism. Furthermore, the campaign reiterated the importance of local government, LGU involvement, and securing significant local investments. With regards to gaps, there is still a gap in reiterating or refreshing the creative materials to counter new, specific rumors circulating on TikTok and Facebook. Also, despite the years of feedback, the campaign still relies heavily on physical consent forms. The transition to digital consent or more streamlined parental notification systems, which would be a significant reiteration, has yet to be fully scaled nationally. For this case, the score given is 4.0. From the scores gathered, Bakuna Eskwela gets an average of 4.21 when evaluated using the adapter framework. This only demonstrates that the campaign was highly successful and it was well-organized comeback for school-based vaccinations. Also, the high score shows that the government did an excellent job of planning and execution, essentially meeting the students where they were by bringing the clinic to the classroom. Also, it proved that the teamwork between health and education officials were strong, the goals were clear, and the logistics of delivering vaccines to millions of children were handled professionally. While there is still a small gap to fill, specifically in making paperwork easier for parents and fighting social media rumors, the campaign stands as a gold standard for how to run a national health program effectively. And this closes my video presentation on my evaluation on Bakuna Eskwela Campaign using the adapter framework. Once again, my name is Ariel Herrera. Thank you very much for watching my video presentation. Till next time, goodbye.